And we're back with leadership in 320. For God, we're getting buried now. I can't even think what episode this is here. We're just stacking them up.
150.
I don't know.
Feels like I've been here with you forever.
Numero 4, I believe. Tonight I actually did remember. I'm sure we'll lose track soon enough.
I know it was 4. I just didn't want you to feel bad.
No, that's okay. No, tonight we're gonna visit a little bit about our own selves and what brought us here. But what we're talking about is kind of the leadership journey, not ours in particular. We'll throw some things in there as far as our own, what we got cooking or what brought us to our current point and maybe where we hope to go. But
easy on your eye, man.
How it's a journey. It's not just there's really not my opinion anyways, it's not the climbing of a mountain and certificate with yay, I did it.
Gold stars.
Yeah. No, that's not really how it works. It's continuous.
My legs aren't built for climbing mountains either.
Your legs, what are your legs built for?
Sitting.
Sitting. I've told a couple people, as you know, we've got a couple of projects going on around here the house, which I've attempted to engage in, do a couple of things myself,
Thank goodness you went into education, not construction.
No, I had a couple of people asking me, or questioning the progress or at the rate of speed, and I just, kind of, there's a real answer to it, but ultimately how I answer is, I said that these hands are made for typing. They're not meant for manual labor, unfortunately.
You can tell by looking at them that you definitely have an indoor job.
They used to, which anyways.
Grandma Vini would be embarrassed to see your hands looking like that.
They haven't put in a lot of work as of late, but regardless, I can't even remember why I said that. Oh, your legs.
Well, you had to wear gloves when we went out mini golfing, didn't you? They just get some blisters on.
Get all calloused up. About all it is from the keyboard and a fork, I suppose. A spoon, some heavy lifting for those crunch berries.
This was calloused up, your spoon hand.
I got a pair of leather gloves in by the silverware drawer when I'm going after those crunch berries. That's just not one bowl.
Those fingerless weightlifting gloves.
I got a whole station for when I go after those. I just got it's a pair of gloves with a larger spoon with an ice cream pail hanging on the wall. It's too many trips back and forth to the kitchen. Just normal cereal bowl.
I don't think either of us have lifted heavy enough before to do the wrist wraps, So when you're doing like the deadlifts and everything, you don't tweak or strain those. I'm surprised you haven't got a way of doing that, but like tying like the spoon into your hands so you get better grip on it.
No, Charlie.
That's a good idea though. Something to work on.
No, I don't even know what a wrist wrap is, but I suppose I would have to go into a gym.
I don't know if that's the right.
I'm sure you just saw somebody do it. Is what you saw, but
I
haven't seen it.
I've never done it. I think we could walk into the gym and people would realize right away that we've never used those.
Oh my gosh!
You're the guys that used to come in here and sit on your phones and screw around in the back of the benches.
God, that was a tough lift today. Oh, really worked things out. Which I don't really think you were ever a leg lifter. I don't know why you called out your own legs. That was a mistake.
I told you
I did call out your feet.
They can't. I walk around with them everywhere. That's plenty of working out by themselves. Just doing that. I don't need to do specific exercises for them.
Next time we do this, I want you to wear socks.
It looks like I'm wearing socks with that tan line.
I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't wear socks. I was too lazy to put them on tonight. Luckily, I can't see them, so
I would prefer you did that, please, next time.
We'll see what happens.
Anyways, talking a little bit about the leadership journey, what it looks like a little bit. We both began our careers doing some teaching, which I'm sure there'll be plenty of stories to share about our time up at college as roommates. Over time, most of them not very good. Probably we weren't
no,
really
they're
we
all-
weren't we weren't really the. There was a,
They're all good.
I don't want to say a blip of time. There was a stretch of time where maybe we weren't the best of friends during that.
I think we were.
We were?
Oh, maybe that's the problem. What are you
No.
talking about? I thought we were BFFs.
No, there's a couple of things I can think of with our reuniting up there at school where we spent some time apart, where you were off at college before I was.
Of course, not.
I can think of like 3 instances the first week in the dorm room where we were about ready to tear each other's heads off. Like, actually.
Well, I can just not getting into it too much, but I can. The first 2 things that come to my mind is number one, Mom not wanting us to room together because
Yeah, you think
she had some foresight into that.
you think
maybe.
she would have been excited about that, but she could see the future there, and she had that right on the money.
Probably thought we were both going to get expelled. We were fighting each
Get
other,
out.
so, the fights. But no, the other one is sitting in the same dorm, back to back, about this far away, messaging each other on our computers.
Oh my gosh. No, we'll have to get into that another time or sprinkle some
man.
things in. But yeah, we got our start doing some teaching, and for me anyways, as far as pursuing a leadership position, which we'll talk about that tonight a little bit too. That really doesn't necessarily emulate the leadership by all as far as position or title.
No. When you had said before about climbing, you made it to the top of the mountain, or whatever you want to call it. But it is. I mean, I've told people before. I mean, I don't ever want to be defined by the title that I have.
No.
I mean, I want it to be a lot deeper than that, and just based off of kind of what you're doing, how you're making people feel about themselves, and
Yeah, I don't think that's ever, and I hope that's not the case for a lot of people where they're not, as far as chasing something, a position or whatever, I always view it and was taught that, you want to be in a position of where you can have the most impact. That's where I'd like to be. So
Yeah.
whenever I think as far as, not a trajectory necessarily, but as far as, and not just work either. But, in
No.
life, put yourself in positions where you can have impact, hopefully positive.
it can go both ways.
No, there's a chance for that. But yeah, I think that's kind of what I frame it as.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that too is everyone has their own, well, first of all, their own skill set, knowledge base, whatever it may be, but they have their own idea of what that is. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, education specifically, I would argue, being it's our spot, it's a rather impactful profession. And again, wherever you're serving in that, again, whether you're an hourly staff member, you're a teacher, whatever, it's super impactful. But like I said, that's the nice thing. Everyone in life gets to decide what that means for them. And for me, I guess, as far as if you are chasing something, chasing impact, kind of led to this spot right now. My principal, where you're kind of get the best of both worlds, get to work with, your staff, get to work with kids, get to work with parents, community members. So, kind of, in my mind, an impactful.
Get the
position.
gamut.
Yeah. So that's why I'm happy to be there. And as far as, any opportunity, again, whether it's professional, unprofessional, you like to be in a spot where you can be impactful, whatever that means. Hopefully, if you have something to share with folks, again, whether that's knowledge or whatever else, just, and I guess as far as impact for me, which I hope some of my skills and background, whatever it may be, education aligned to, is, working with people, which is, it's kind of what it is. Education is pretty much the people business. So
Yeah, you got to be there for them, and make sure you're trying to make the best decisions and doing what you can to get them where they need to be.
And as far as what that's looked like, that's looked somewhat similar for you, as far as, you were teaching for several years, and we're in a mid-level leadership position per se, some books might say, and then now we're the building leader in your realm. So yeah.
No, yeah, it's been I guess my personal journey's been a fun one. I'd say interesting. I don't know. Some people say interesting and don't always know if it means a good or bad way, but I just think it's just been just interesting thinking about you talking about where you started when we were in school, when we were up in Moorhead, and where we're at now, and teaching first grade. There probably wasn't on my immediate radar like, hey, I'm going to be the principal here sometime. It's maybe in the back of my mind, but it wasn't the primary focus at that time. We were focused on how can we lead in this classroom and how can we assist the kids here, the grade level team you're working with, and then I think it's good that you don't you got to have goals, but you don't want to just set that like, oh, boom, this is the goal here and we're never setting one again. And like for you, you're 30 years old and like, all right, I did it.
Yeah.
Done.
No. And I don't think, when you look at strong leaders, I guess, are ones that I've had experience with, or what I would decipher as being strong leaders is, that's not like, I want to do this necessarily. I think it comes back to, I want to be in a position where I can do these things, where, oftentimes if that aligns with, being an administrator, whatever, a CEO, manager of some kind, that's great. And maybe it's not, but again,
well, and bottom line, it doesn't matter again what your title is, because that person, you, me, or anybody else, I mean, they have those qualities, those traits, and they're being that leader, regardless of what the title is, of where they're at, what they're doing.
Yeah, we hope they do.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue.
I would like to think so.
I would argue that it's not always. I think that's where it comes down to it. Yes, you would hope so, think so, but I would say sometimes too, it's not necessarily the qualities and traits why they're there, which I hope it is, but even more so sometimes it's because they're qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
Where it could be the other way too, where someone might not have.
Well, throw the opportunities,
the needed
well.
Oh yeah, all those things, right? But again, that's where I think it comes down to, where it's not defined as a position title. One of my favorite quotes that I like to throw at you. I use this one a lot. I use this with conversations with students, maybe more so when I was in the high school setting a little bit, but something I have this pinned up in my office just as a reminder. Todd Whitaker, who's a force in the ed leadership ed leadership world, but again, going back to the idea that it's not a position or a title, that one of his favorite quotes, that again is hanging on the wall, is leaders don't set the tone, but whoever sets the tone is the leader. Mm-hmm. And I got to read that once in a while to remember. And again, I think sometimes, unfortunately, that maybe can happen where, I'm talking broad leadership here too, well beyond our scope, is, I'm the boss, so kind of have that. And that's how things are going to go. I'm the boss. This is what I say. And this is the way we're going to do things. And it's just going to roll that way, where really it's not true. That's why I love that quote, because, you're not setting the tone, whether you think you are or not, just because you have whatever title in front of your name, behind your name. Yep. That's not the way it's working. But again, the folks that are doing the work, setting the tone, setting the pace, they're the real leaders of whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point. Bringing that up, that makes you sit back and think a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to be mindful of that. But, hopefully all the, everything aligns and, you're in that spot again for the right reasons, and you're rocking and rolling, because that is part of it too, because you want to be that person, whatever it is. If you're in that spot, you hope you're doing an adequate job, or more so where folks want to, follow you, listen to you, and you're hoping you're a constant force. Again, have good
Constant positive force.
Yeah, again, you're going to be there. You're going to be a constant force, whether, if you're there in the morning, someone wants to smack you in the face every time they talk to you, or you make them smile. And some of that, and again, that's a larger thing too. It's to that point, you're not going to be, you're not going to make everybody happy all the time,
No.
and that's, I hope there's not a lot of people out there that take pleasure in, making people unhappy, but the bottom line, it's impossible. And again, we're super fortunate where we're at, but again, just leadership in general. One of my favorite things, and it came from, someone, I can't even remember where it came from. If it was a individual I had worked with several years ago, if it was in a college class or something. It's something to do with leadership, but it was, they said very shrewdly, I think I've told you this before, maybe not in recent time, the ice cream truck. Yeah. But this is just, this was like a leadership, general leadership course, not specific to education by any means, but it was God, who was it? It was a lady who had been, killing it in the professional game. She was a leader of whatever, but she had said that if you want to make everybody happy, you should have drove an ice cream truck. Which, that's important to think about too. There's definitely a fine line. Don't want to be an ass, certainly trying to meet everybody's needs. That's everybody, right? In our business, that's your staff and whatever else, but sometimes it's just an impossibility. So sometimes you just got to remind yourself of that too. Try to meet.
Got to give yourself a little bit of grace.
Yeah, just to realize too, because sometimes it is, maybe I say this to make myself feel better sometimes too, but it's, once you got to step back and remove it, and this isn't just for, again, we talk, teacher leaders, every teacher is a leader. If you think about their own classroom and stuff, because things, oftentimes teachers, people in education would argue, like they feel things rather deeply because they care too.
Yeah.
Staff, my experience in working with several different staffs is, I have that same way. It's like, you don't really want people to say things to you that are shrewd or not nice, and, whether it's belittling and make you feel like you suck in some regard. But sometimes you got to remove yourself from that and say, whoever was in this position or this situation, this individual or this group of people, they're upset at, the position, because sometimes it is that, whoever was sitting here, that wasn't going to go so hot for anybody. Mm-hmm. And again, that's not a cop out. It's not something you can do every time.
No.
Oh, if you screw something up, butcher. Oh, well, anybody would have screwed that. Everyone would have done that. I'm just fine. That's not what I'm saying. It's important to be reflective and continue to make moves to be better. But sometimes, ultimately, you have to check yourself if you're getting beat up a little bit, and that's for everybody. It's like, sometimes that just happens. That's part of the deal.
Well, it is, and when you look at just the number of people that you come in contact with, whether you're, or staff members or students or parents or anybody else along the way, talking about journeys, where you're at, and most of the time people are at different parts of their journey. So, they might have different thoughts, different opinions on things too. So that could be part of I'll say a problem, but part of the reason that there's maybe a bump in the road, or, if you're looking at things in a different perspective, I guess, than somebody else. So,
yeah, those things, just got to watch out for those too, because you don't want, it's easy to get consumed by things and ate up by things too. But again, we talk about leadership on here, and, say it time and time again, as far as anyone's in a position of a leader, if they want to be of some sorts, in very all different capacities, little things, big things, but how that looks again, as far as being a parent, I think it's important to check yourself too. And those same rules apply, just because you have a child with somebody, Steve Harvey, I'll call it Steve Harvey. I see some of his stuff. I really like Steve Harvey. I don't know if you've seen any. Do you watch anything on him? He's got like a podcast.
No, I haven't seen much or.
Which sometime we're going to dig up the clip. One of our first nights that we were messing around with this, kind of decide how this was going to look. And we'll have to pull out the clip if it's somewhere there. But I was talking to you, if you recall, I'm like, haven't you ever listened or watched a podcast? And you're like Joe Rogan. So you never see, it's like, all right, okay, well, this is going to be good. Play
Just
something.
haven't got into it, I guess.
Anyways, Steve Harvey, well, he has a show that's not Family Feud, by the way. I think you're going to say that. A different one. And then he does some podcast stuff. But the whole lineage, he says that something along these lines is, anyone can be a father, but not everyone can be a dad. So again, when you think of a title, again, and what that means, it's one thing. Again, you mark the box. Same thing if you're a principal. Well, it says that on the website and whatever else. You got the office, but that's, anyone can be a principal under that regard.
No.
It's all saying. Same thing, right? If you have a child at home, you are a father. You did it. You got it done.
Mission accomplished.
You got it done. But, that's not, the title. That means it doesn't mean a lot in that regard. If it's just that. What does that look like?
When we're lucky to be in the situation that we're at and have the family that we have. And I'm 34 years old now, and I think our mom and dad have shown us that's just kind of keeps on keeping on here. There's no all right, you're 18 now, we'll see you again never. They're here and still supporting us and being there and doing what they can. And I think that's just that's how I envision things for myself too. And obviously, if kids move to California or something, and that's it would look different too. Just like anybody's journey is or people's journeys are gonna look different than everyone else's. But just I think they did a good job of showing how being a dad, my mom should look like, and not just the father or mother. That's
true. And everyone, like you said, a lot of people don't have the privilege or the means of seeing what that looked like, and whether it was in their own growings up or home, or if they didn't have that, so super fortunate in that regard. But I think it's again, what does that look like? And sometimes I used to have a competitive problem. Now I've kind of lost that a little bit.
Not really.
A little bit.
No, I don't think.
You're
You're not in as many competitive situations anymore.
But I don't have as much outlet, so maybe it sometimes bubbles up a little bit.
I'll see. We'll fire up Mario Kart later, and I'll show you that you still have some competitiveness.
A little bit, maybe a little bit's down there yet. But ultimately, like I say that one in anything. What do they say? Who says that? I shouldn't say things. I don't know who says them.
Who says what?
Got that dog in you. Who says that? Isn't that from a movie or something?
Dog in you. I don't know.
Regardless, the sentiment. Regardless, I think somebody says that.
I think a lot of people say that. There's not one direct person.
The dog. Well, you just were like, I said something from Socrates. I don't know. So apparently you haven't heard it.
I was trying to think of who specifically.
Meaning, you got a little grit in you, and don't have a whole lot of time for second place, for example. So I think it's okay to have some out when I say that, as far as we talk about simply being a title or whatever else. If one dives into that, wants to be, a whole heck of a lot more than just the title or the position. I think that goes with a dad.
I mean,
and his
the
first
whole
form as a
feeling
parent.
the feeling that comes with it.
Yeah, I mean, and this invites a whole lot of conversation. Then I think being a spouse, I mean, that's up on the top of the list as well. I mean, as far as again, as far as more than position or a title, and that's not saying that I know everything and this is the way it should be. But what does that look like for you? Are you doing the best that you can be in your spot with your significant other, with your children, with the people that you're working with the people that you see at the grocery store or whatever? What does that look like? Are you putting your best foot forward each day or most days? And if you're not, stop it.
Do better.
Do something better. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think, everybody's entitled to a bad day every here and there. But again, I think it still comes down to how you handle that bad day. Are you going to take it out on somebody else, or are you going to find a different outlet to use to kind of manage that, whether it's going for a run, working out a little bit, or reading, going for a walk outside, or whatever it might be, instead of snapping at somebody else.
Yeah.
Or
we've talked about that. Yeah, that's a challenge too, is I think, again, and everyone's coming from a different place. People have stuff going on, but you got to find a way to manage that. I want to say on your own time, but kind of on your own time. Know what I mean? Yeah. Somehow you got to put things in place where you are ready to rock when you need to be ready to rock. Again, whatever that looks like for you. Excuse me. Certainly during the workday, but then when you get home, you got to find. You don't have to find anything, I guess, but you got to be present. You got to be giving them all you can. Maybe it's not 100 each day, but you and I talked about this.
Well, it doesn't have to be 100. It just has to be the best that you can give in that given time or moment.
I believe you should be cooked. You and I were just talking about this. You should be pretty well fried at the end of a day. Why not? What are you saving it for?
Kind of the opposite of me at the end of our cross-country meets in high school.
Cooked?
Yeah, it wasn't.
You could have probably put forth a little more effort.
Yeah, that's Don't want to go into the end of the day feeling like you could start sprinting.
No. Which you shouldn't bring that up. Our last little adventure, as we talked about, that wasn't a good example of what I'm preaching right now. I mean, what are people saving it for?
Tomorrow.
You're ready to rock again tomorrow. I mean, what do you need the juice for? I think in my head, what I tell myself, you get enough juice for one day. You run it out and then you get more tomorrow. You hope.
Charge up.
You hope. But I mean, you should be tired at the end of the day. If you're doing, I hope that we're in the business of doing some meaningful work. I always like to say, if you're doing meaningful work, it can be hard work. Hard work means it's usually tiring you out, so it shouldn't be a surprise that you're beat at the end of the day. I'm tired. Yeah, I bet you are.
Join the club.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's good. If you're tired, exhausted.
Oh, I don't think. Well, I think so many people.
And that's not a shot on anybody, right? When people say they're tired, exhausted, it's like my head. I'm doing a little clapping. I know you're dog tired. I think that's because you're doing awesome work.
It's grouped in with a negative thing so many times. I feel like
when people say they're tired, but
it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like you had said, it'd be almost more concerning if it was 9:30 at night and you're just completely bursting with energy, and it's like, man, I didn't hardly use any energy today. I'm feeling jacked. Like, why?
No. I mean, that probably doesn't mean you're. Maybe not. Maybe you could be doing a little more then too.
Maybe people just have more energy than we do.
I know that's for sure. And that's for a wide variety of reasons. Speaking of which, people probably get sick of us bringing up our our supper meetings here, but we did have another one a few hours ago. It just happened.
We like to eat.
Just happened to be. That's, you know.
And this time you cooked. You
Huh?
you blew the dust off of your.
Literally blew the dust. I
What I don't even know what is it. I don't know, what's it called? Skillet thing? I don't know.
Skillet griddle.
Griddle. There we go.
But you had, which I'll leave the commentary open for the meal itself. But you had
It was
just said, when we were walking up here about, I can't remember, you said about working out or something, getting a run in a day or going longer tomorrow. And you alluded to like, God, you know, supper tonight, you know, it was that big burger, you know, it had cheese on it and bacon, had too much chicken or whatever. And literally it was broccoli and green beans. But you're like, oh, I'll have to run more tomorrow.
Well, that burger was like this. It was really
good. No, that's what you said. You did throw in, but this was key. This was key to the story.
It was delicious.
Yeah, what? But you said fatty or something, which like,
that was
right. I mean, it was greasy. I mean, it was
greasy.
It was greasy. I mean, clearly, I mean, that thing was, it tasted really good.
She was
So anyways, like a burger, you know, that had like some bacon and cheese in it or whatever.
Took us on a trip to Flavor Town.
Yeah. And, French fries. There was French fries too. Forgot about here. I'm just saying green beans and broccoli. Yeah, there was French fries. Forgot about those darn things. Gosh darn it. Well, that's going to hurt my story a little bit.
You dumped this much on your
That was
plate.
a mistake. I told people to take them off.
Yeah, they didn't want to after that.
I didn't eat all of them.
You dumped. That would have been, if they would have been fresh cut French fries, you would have seen 15 potatoes chopped up and put on your plate.
This is hurting my story. Regardless, meat, I mean, it was chicken thighs. Dark meat. It wasn't like they were drowned in barbecue sauce or anything, or salt, pepper. Everything was very lightly seasoned. Besides that burger, but I didn't do none. I just threw that from the package. That thing was nasty. Anyways, you were saying, "Well, go do it. Don't have to do more workout tomorrow. You know, supper or whatever." I'm thinking, Christ. I was thinking that like I could pour myself a bowl of Fruit Loops for a late night snack because God. I ate a good supper tonight. Might treat myself a little bit here. Get gas in the morning. Might get a roll of Starburst just to make sure my body don't quit on me from that healthy supper I ate last night.
Gosh.
So clearly, again, everyone's coming from a different spot. I guess
Well,
they're at different places in their journey.
There's a 75% chance I go home later and have myself a bowl of ice cream too. So
I don't see you. I was gonna say I don't see you toting any holiday cookies around lately.
No,
it used to be a thing, but it still looks like you're toting some holiday cookies around. If you know what I mean. I don't see you carrying the bag around anymore.
The reason I don't,
unless is that what you're doing when you pull up here now, and I see the light come on. You open your door like this far for like 8 minutes. Are you just housing a couple of those cookies in there?
Tonight I was cutting my fingernails, for being honest.
What?
Yeah.
I have not cut my fingernails.
I can see
Actually,
that.
I never ever have.
Yeah.
The last time these fingernails were cut is when Mary did it in probably 1999. Otherwise, they've been getting bit.
That's gross.
I've never cut my fingernails.
No, but
if I cut my toenails, I need to take about a 12-minute shower on blazing hot so I can reach my toes just to get it done.
You gotta do a little quick,
just to get limbered up.
10-minute yoga session just to try to
That's
get
the
down
truth,
there.
though. I have to do that.
Oh, but I was gonna say I don't have to get holiday cookies anymore because Ashley's always baking really good cookies. So I just gotta go right to. I know you think it's stupid that we have a legit cookie jar at home, so I can just go right in there and grab a mitt full of those and take her back to the couch. I don't even have to drive to town. It's unfortunately too convenient.
Those are cookies, but they're not holiday cookies. Sorry, Ashley.
Yeah, they're really good. They're better than holiday cookies.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything better than a holiday cookie.
Holiday pizza.
No. I told you that. No, won't get on that. Anyways.
I don't know.
Can't remember what I said, but but ultimately. Oh, I said that.
It's 4. I'm keeping track. It's the 4th time.
I like that word, apparently. wasn't someone's dead
Maybe.
time over on the other side of the mic. Maybe I wouldn't have to say it all the time.
Shoot
And
us
I'd
a
look
message.
at you for to pick up something up for a transition, and I just see you like this. So I guess whenever I see ultimately, I look over in Mitchell's face. You got something? What's next? What's next, boss? What do you got next? So I can sit here. Jeez, my gosh, darn it, you. Oh. No.
Oh man.
But
Oh,
again,
no.
being sensitive. So going back to when I say about burning the tank up each day, obviously this is talking from a broad lens. People got stuff going on or whatever, thinking about our folks, back to school stuff, kids, parents. I mean, everyone's fried, they got, because a lot of teachers, whether they have their own kids at home too, it's like, oh my goodness. So when I said that, that's not taking light of, someone's tired, but if you're tired, you're doing some important stuff. But you alluded to it can be a negative connotation. And again, this is not taking a shot at anybody, but you're alluding to like the Monday morning of good morning, wherever it may be. And, how are you? Well, it would have been better if I could have slept more than an hour and a half last night, which I have a tremendous amount of empathy for people that can't, because luckily I can sleep like a rock most nights. But the couple of times where, the mind's going too fast or something and you can't fall asleep, I honestly, on those rare occasions, I don't know how people do that. Why you would share that with somebody is another thing. It's one thing if you're doing it, but probably in a quick exchange in the morning, that's probably not the most positive piece, which we'll talk more and more about this, because, what you're putting in the atmosphere is what you're going to get back. That's how you're starting your day, your attitude. Again, sorry about that, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
got a little more sleep, but it's
got
time to
nine,
party.
8 or 9 more hours to flip this thing around, and let's get fired up.
It's time to party. And that's so much easier said and done, because again, life can be a bear for folks. And that's the other thing. I would say that is one of the greatest challenges of being in a leadership, again, position, and one of the greatest privileges too, as far as we think of growth, is oftentimes in that leadership position, when you're working with X amount of people, you hear things from individuals of some tough things they're going through, because they feel like you need to know, or you do need to know them as they relate to work. I'd say it's very humbling. Maybe that's the word.
Well, it is, and it gives you, like you said, it gives you some insight that maybe not everybody else has, as to, things aren't as peachy as everybody else may assume, or that, it's not always, it's not perfect.
No.
Everybody has their things that they're dealing with and working on, and some people are willing to share that with others and everyone, on social media or whatever it might be, and other people just are much more private, and you'd never know.
No, but I think that's the part of it. When the positivity comes back, and again, when we joke around on here, or when people know me from work, maybe take things too light. One, that's just how I deal with my own personal stuff. But I mean, that's just I think one of the biggest lessons that one would learn from being in a leadership position is just be nice to people. Again, because you hear those things from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So again, as far as the tone setter, no matter what's going on in a building, an organization, a company, there's always going to be these ebbs and flows of highs and lows and whatever it may be. These ebbs and flows, which I think is pretty natural.
Well, it is, and and to me, I don't know if this is what you're getting at or not, but just thinking about treating people in the right way. I mean, I try to handle my daily interactions in a way of, you wouldn't talk to a student in the way that you wouldn't talk to your own child, or you'd be fine with somebody else talking to your child that way, or you're not going to talk to a staff member the way you wouldn't want someone talking to your own spouse. And to me, that just, obviously I'm not saying, I feel like I hopefully do a pretty good job of, being respectful and having those conversations with people. But to me, it's just kind of a way of looking at it, thinking about that, like how would this make you feel if, someone was treating your spouse this way, or, interacting with them in that way.
Gotta be decent. Gotta be decent to people. And sometimes I think it does everyone a whole lot of good if you just assume sometimes that somebody's doing their best.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that fine line there because you're there to make sure things stay on track and you want to push people to get everything out of them and make sure they're in a good spot. But again, they're reaching their fullest potential. But sometimes, again, whether it's personal, professional life, you'll be a lot happier and a lot more carefree if you just assume that that person's doing what they can that day.
Yeah.
Because, again, the whole walk a mile on their shoes.
Well, yeah, and I think you saying your tank should be spent at the end of the day. Every now and then, for whatever the reason might be, you might be coming in with just a half tank.
No.
That morning, and it might be spent a little bit quicker.
Here's a big mistake, is we're talking to folks in whether you're in a leadership position or not, I'm going to say it's specific. And I'll have more to offer on this for anyone that's in this position, because I've done things not the right way, and I've realized it now. But also when I say about emptying tank, so if you got a spouse at home who you love dearly, also remember that they're emptying their tank throughout the day as well. And I think sometimes folks in a leadership position, again, I have not been perfect by any means, but I have learned a little bit in my growing ups a little bit, is, just because you're the boss at work in a leadership position, one that definitely, in my case, definitely doesn't mean you run the show at home, which is great for me, honestly. But two, it's, just because you're in a leadership position, that doesn't mean you worked any harder than anybody else. Your wife, or the other way, if, this is the exact same. If you're a woman, I would imagine, if you're the boss, your husband, just putting that on their spot, it's the same deal. If you're killing at work, no matter, not knowing what anyone's spouse does, but in my position, it's like, you don't get to be any more tired at the end of the day than them.
No,
that's not how it works.
And even if you were, I don't think that'd be a good thing to try.
I worked harder. What'd you get done today?
And then she'd say, "Show me your hands," and she'd be like, "That's what I thought."
No, but this is something I like to say. So then we got a couple minutes left here. This is a whole kind of another subject, but again, not the position, not the title, but there was a period of time where I was in a leadership position, not in my current one, and we were super fortunate, beyond fortunate, to have Brennan at home with our new baby, which was honestly the biggest blessing ever, like the most awesome thing. It's something I'm still so thankful for. But so again, I thought it was whatever, I really didn't, but coming home, because she was stay-at-home mom, which is probably the hardest job on the planet. Very difficult, challenging job, but an awesome job. And she was fantastic. But just, again, I'm going to sound like a piece saying this. I'm just going to be honest.
Throw it out there.
And it wasn't like I was freaking out, my goodness, which again, Brennan and Ashley already said they're going to come on here so we can attest some of these things. But, come home or whatever, and, she's shot, the baby not sleeping and whatever else, which we had, of course, some extracurriculars with our first little rascal. But like there'd be like diapers, like laying on the floor, not in the cupboards, like weird spots. What? No, I wouldn't say anything. I'd pick him up, whatever else. But it's like, I was part of in my head. And again, I know I can get roped for this. That's fine. But the reason I say it is it's so important when you're in that position is when you can insert yourself in someone else's spot, even if it's for a glimmer, right? Because even if it's, he only stopped in here for a couple minutes. He really doesn't know. But whenever you can, whatever that looks like, do it. Because I remember being a new dad, and then Brennan was off. So I was in charge for the day, some of those first couple days, which was interesting. But honestly, and this sounds stupid and cliche, the change in table set up the same way. I found myself literally tossing a diaper in the exact same spot. Know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't going to, because the diaper got tossed on the change table. You went and you were on to the next. You were going to get the bottle. You weren't going to pick that up.
No.
So I just remember feeling this rush, that day. Same thing with household chores or whatever else. Someone's, again, whatever spousal, not duties, whatever, that looks like, if they're working, not working. But, a guy has got to watch himself. Because, again, if you just put yourself in a spot, or if something just irks the heck out of you, whether it's personal and professionally, God, why does that person do that? Or why is this done this way? Well, get your butt in there. Maybe see it for yourself. You're probably going to find out that
there's a very good reason as to why it's being done
why it's going down that way. So, get into it instead of just being a turd about it from afar. Jump right into it.
Well,
ask some questions. But again, besides all that, go see it. Go see it. Just watch, observe.
If it was like that the last 3, 4, 5 days or 5 weeks, it's probably like that again tomorrow. So unless you do something about it and check on it, you're not gonna know.
Let's end on that, because we're coming to a close. So ultimately, what we talked about is that was my own fault. Anyways, ultimately, how it's a journey. It's not just locking into, I attain this position. Yay me, I'm a leader. No, that's not really how it works. It's kind of more a lifestyle, I would say. Because again, it's not just work. It's not home. It's not, I'm a husband now. I'm a father now. So just check that box off. I'm in a position where I get to be somebody's boss now. So check that off again. So I'd say it's
no finish line.
No, putting yourself in a,
just always, again, I feel like trying to better yourself and be a better person today than you were yesterday, and just keep trying to grow. And
gotta put yourself in the right spots, whatever that looks like. And kind of closing with a thought of, we talk about change. We said tonight, if you just said, if you don't like how someone's doing it, figure it out now. Take some steps, change it, and do it. So someone's bugging the heck out of you.
Be proactive.
Goodness, sometimes I burn myself out with my own head of the, I can't catch a break, that kind of stuff. It's like, shut up, dude. Figure it out. The time's now. If you want to fix something, fix it. Figure it out. Take some steps. Get up earlier. Go do a couple push-ups. Stop eating at Burger King. Put your phone away. Get her done. The time's now.
Should be taking notes right now. Those sound like good things to work on.
Yeah, a couple more personalized to me, unfortunately. The one.
Do you still have the BK app on your phone?
Yeah. I have the Subway app as well, though.
They just kind of cancel each other out.
Although I don't know much about Subway, but if someone saw my Subway sandwich, I don't know how much favors that's doing me either. Not for the sake of Subway, but
still getting the cold cut.
I like a cold cut.
It's gross.
It tastes like summertime.
It's like all it is like 5 different kinds of bologna.
It tastes like the lake. I like it.
That's
tastes fair. Like summertime. Although I like eating it in December too.
Well, you could be ice fishing then.
All the time.
Out on the lake still.
No, ultimately, keep yourself in check. Things are always changing. Things are always moving, but try to get better each day and lead on, carry on.
Keep it going.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.